Welcome to Grit and Grow with Megan and Sarah. This is an introduction to the two of us, Megan Bramlett and Sarah Blackburn.
I find the beauty in commotion, swimming by the gale, miles away.
Welcome back to Grit and Grow with Megan, which will now be called Grit and Grow with Megan and Sarah. I have asked my really good friend Sarah to join me on this podcast because we both cover mindset and we just cover it slightly different and different parts of it. So I really felt that we could help more of you and really create a better environment to help you with transformation by including my friend Sarah in this podcast. Welcome, Sarah. I'm so excited to have you on this podcast with me.
Thank you, Megan. Hi, everybody. I am Sarah Blackburn. I was just teasing Megan right before we started recording I was like, girl, how long have we been working together now? I don't know if it was 2020. I don't know, it was 2019, but it has been a hot minute and we did get a chance to meet in person. I am an Oregonian, West Coast all the way, and Miss Megan here lives in Florida. So we are literally worlds apart. And we did get to meet, what was it, 2021?
Last year.
Or was it just last year?
Last year.
So it was 2023. Yeah, 2023. And I have known for a long time that I have wanted to do something in collaboration. And so I'm really excited to do Grit and Grow with you.
Awesome. Yes, we've been working together and helping each other and supporting each other and giving each other the accountability we need when we need it, because we just tend to be really try to hold each other as accountable as possible. Although we do kind of let each other slide sometimes. But so
I think that's why we're here. I really think that's why we're here.
Yeah, I think this is, we kind of talked about the fact that we need to find a way to hold each other more accountable. So by doing the podcast, we're actually putting it out there more, and we're going to hold each other accountable to doing stuff versus just saying things. So the reason why I know, the reason why I really thought that we could work together on this podcast is with you cover a lot of the business mindset and how, the imposter syndrome and all that stuff can affect you and can affect your business, where I'm more on the personal or the rest of your life mindset. But in reality, they affect each other. So like, if you don't feel like a good mom, which we all have been through in our lives as mothers, if you don't feel like a good mom, that can come and affect your business life and make you feel like an imposter, because you already feel like an imposter on one side. So you're going to feel like an imposter on the other.
Exactly. Yep. And I do find it really interesting that Phoenix Body and Mind, your company, and Despite the Storm, my company, it's like we cover the same bases, but we cover different bases. And so I'm excited to have us work together and really share tools that have worked with you and that also work with me. Because what I've found is, like, I really thought that my business was going to be all about the brass tacks, the getting things done in the doing of it. And what I have found over the years now in having a business is most often it's not the action step, it's not the actual do where people get stopped. It's all of the things that come up that stop them from acting. And that's, for me, that's why I'm here, because I know that by us pushing through together, using the skill set we have while working with each other, you're going to teach other people things because we're going to break through.
I agree. I know there's been a few times where I've caught things you're saying on Facebook or in different things where I'm like, she's really a mindset coach. She's not even a business coach. She is a mindset coach. And I'm like, I wish she would just get to it and understand that's what she's doing. Because
Right.
But as you know, as a coach, I can't tell you that. You have to come to that on your own. I can't be like, look, this is what you need to be doing. I have to be like trying to guide you in that way, but without actually putting it out there.
And it's that right there that has always stopped me from calling myself a coach, and always why I've chosen the word consultant, is because I'm not going to ask you a bunch of questions and lead it to it. I'm not going to pussyfoot around, and I'm not going to play follow the leader. And the reason that I say those things is because I have felt that frustration of being unable to break through and getting frustrated and even personally attacking the coach that I was working with because I just wanted the answer. And so for me, I've always been like, I will give you the answer and I will do the work for you. And what I realized, it's great that I say that, but when you do the work for somebody and when you give somebody the answer, what you get is a lot of what I have been getting, which is I feel like a fraud because people pay me, give them the action steps, and then they don't do them, and then they don't have the results. And then I feel like a failure because they bought something from me, but they didn't get results.
Well,
They're not mad at me because they're totally honest about, hey, I didn't do it. Hey, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I didn't. But I'm like, but why wouldn't you? Why would
but
so
you know,
this is
like
what we
I
do.
was talking
This.
to my daughter's behavioral therapist last night, and we were discussing the fact that I'm a coach, and he's like, I
Uh-huh.
love coaches. And I said, you know, the biggest difference between like a behavioral therapist or therapy and psychology and stuff and coaching
Mhm.
is that fact that we don't tell you. I said, now I've had psychiatrists and counselors most of my adult life. I've gone to someone. I
Mhm.
said the part that drove me nuts is they would tell me, go and do this. Well, guess what? I had no intention of going and doing that because that didn't feel right to me. So, like, I had a client last
Right.
week, a massage client that was talking to me, and she's like, well, my counselor is telling me that I really need to tell my mom that she just needs to stay in my house. She can't have the shed apartment thing that I have out back. I'm gonna rent that out. And my immediate going into coaching mode at this moment, even though I'm doing massage, was, well, which one do you feel more
Mhm.
comfortable with? And she's like, well, I don't know. I was like, well, how about something like, how about you go home and write out the pros and cons of each one? If she stays in the house, the pros and cons, and if she moves to that shed, the pros and cons, and then you decide which one actually works better for you. So then later she texts me back, she goes, thank you so much. And I'm like, what? And she goes, I've decided that I really need her to move to the shed apartment and that she's going to have to pay me what I would get from someone else renting it because we need our space. And I'm like, and you feel confident about that? She goes, yeah, I told her that this is the way it is, or she's going to have to find another place to live. And I was like, go girl. And all I said was, you need to make that decision. But she felt true to that versus what the psychologist was telling her you have to do.
Right, right, right. It's really all in the, I don't know, I almost want to say the presentation, but it's not just the presentation. It's that trust that you have with people, when you're in that space of massage, also when you're in that space of coaching, it's like you've already asked for permission to be that intimate with them. And so to introduce well, what do you really want?
Mhm.
That I actually did experience that exact like feeling and transformation for myself as I led up to getting married when I was 35, coming up on like 7 years ago now, because my husband really wanted it to be about me. What do you want? What's this for you? We hired a wedding planner and she's like, well, what do you want? I'm like, I don't know. No one's ever asked me that before. I've never just sat with myself and been like, what does Sarah want? It was a beautiful experience. And like now I have all these warm, fuzzy, glowy feelings around that time leading up to it because I got to know what I like when it comes to pampering myself, when it comes to like, what do I need to feel like my most loveliest self? Because for years before that, I had taken on this mantra that I don't have time to be nice. I don't have time to be kind. I have too many kids and I have too much going on. I just need to get things done. And I literally would say that. People's
Yeah.
number one complaint or feedback on me is you're not very nice. You're not very kind. You're actually kind of an angry person. And I defended it so hard. And I remember going through that process. I'm like, why have you chosen that you don't have time to what? And now, and this really happened for me during COVID, where I had a bunch of teenagers and it went from being concerned about them academically to being concerned about their mental health. It got to the point of, what do I need to be my best self today? What does Sarah need to show up as her best self for these five kids I've got at home?
Definitely.
And that
But
was
it's also a way of empowering. So them asking you what you wanted for your wedding empowered you to make those like to really sit down and figure out what you wanted and what
right.
would make you happy. And the thing is that when you're
Yeah.
told this is what things are gonna, that takes your power away. And so what I try to do
Right.
when I'm working with clients, whether they're massage clients or coaching clients, is that I try to empower you you're going to get behind anything that you decide based on what you want in your life, not me telling you what you want. So you're going to do, and you're going to get behind it, and you're going to live for it because that's your decision versus me saying, hey, you know, your mom probably shouldn't stay in your house. She should probably go in the shed because I feel like you don't really want her there. It doesn't matter how I feel, you feel. You need to make that decision yourself. And my daughter's behavioral therapist was like, exactly. I was like, okay, so you're a different kind of therapist.
Well, so, but what do you do when you're working with someone who's unsure, undecided? Because, like, total honesty here, a lot has what's this like come up for me, and I've written down the words therapist, coaches, psychiatrists, counselors. I'm like, I don't feel qualified as any of those things. And so you talked about how I'm a mindset coach, and I was like, that even makes me feel like more of a fraud. And you know, I've recently signed up to get a physical trainer certification, and I was like, why do I think I need to be a physical trainer? And so it's one of those, like, I don't feel worthy. I don't feel qualified. And this is something that came up for me over and over and again when I was in that big mentorship program I went through with MLSP, Brian Finale. I literally was like into the advanced program. So completed the first and in the advanced program saying, well, what if you don't know what your value is? And they're like, oh, Sarah. I'm like, sorry. And I still want to say the same thing. So what do you do when someone is like, but I don't know what I should do. I don't know the right thing.
Well, depending on the situation. So like with you, Sarah, what I would say is, where do you feel strongest? Like I know that we've discussed that, you know, because of things going on, you have that feeling of kind of like, what the hell, right? But where do you honestly feel strongest? Do you feel strongest in helping people understand the technical aspect of business? Because you do more with business because you've been through. I mean, I still have everything from super duper. I still have everything from that, and that's when we started working together, and everything made sense, and everything was business aspect. So what do you feel strongest with? Do you feel strongest with the website and the social media and all that stuff? Or do you feel strongest helping people really find their power within their business?
Well, but that's the thing. I don't feel stronger in either one of those because I don't have success in either one of those. I don't have success in my personal life, and I don't have success with clients that I can directly relate to and that I can directly point to. And so that's where it comes up for me going like, right.
I beg to differ. You do have success. You do have success. That was successful.
God, I remember that. When I launched that program, I made $3,000 in 2 days. It was bananas. It was bananas.
So I'm going to bring this back just for everyone to see. This is the first time I met Sarah, and this was called, what was the name of it? It was Power Moms Online Lesson 9. This one. So Power Moms Online. And it was a lot of it was about there were tools, you know, like, you know, different MLSP stuff, and there were tools to use, but a lot of it was the mindset. Like, where's your mindset? A lot of it, if you go back, a lot of it was about your mindset, about reaching out to people and talking to people and really that's what a lot of it was about. You're great with websites. You're good with social media, all that stuff you're good with, but is it something you really feel passionate about?
Yeah, no, I feel most passionate about the connecting with people, about watching people have a breakthrough, about supporting people have a breakthrough.
So that's one thing.
And honestly, that's, if I'm totally genuine, I feel most fulfilled when I can meet someone in breakdown and support them through it. Because I have been in breakdown so many times that I now know, and I'm not afraid of breakdowns happen. Breakdowns are going to happen. There will be another breakdown after whatever current breakdown you're in. So like that, it might sound crazy, but no matter how bad it is, this thing that we are dealing with right now, there's going to be another one later. So let's like look at this one realistically. That's one of the things that I really do love to do that with people. But at the same time, I need someone to do that with me. There's times where I've gotten where I'm like, I have to talk to another human. I have to talk to another human. The night my son was diagnosed type 1 diabetes in January, I reached out to a coworker who used to be an EMT. And so I knew that not only would she be happy to support me, we were good friends outside of work, but I also know she has this EMT background. And so she said all the right things to me. This is how it happens. You didn't miss anything. He is exactly where he needs to be. This is what they're going to do for him. This is probably how long they're probably going to keep him. Like, she was giving me actual real information. And that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do, is connect with people and get them from their breakdown into a reality that will work for them.
Well, and so that speaks more to the mindset and more to the actual, like, not the, I mean, not the, so not the tech aspect of it. The tech aspect of
Right.
like business is the tech aspect. That's the mailing, the landing pages, the websites, all that stuff, all the stuff I hate, by the
Right.
way. That's all that
Mhm.
stuff. And but what you're talking about is more, and that's why, like, I've been feeling this for like at least 3 years of talking to you, is you are more in naturally go into that mindset. And the reason why is you have been through a lot.
Yeah.
You've been through a lot business wise, you've been through a
Yeah.
lot personally. And there's not one coach out there that I know of that doesn't call on other coaches. I call on you. You help me with
Right.
business stuff. And then there's
Yeah.
times where I've been in breakdown because of things going on with my family, my daughter with her issues right now, or even when I got run over by the car a few years ago, I called on
Right.
you because I needed to be saved from my own mental state at that point, because that mental state was very bad. And I called on you, and I called on you as a friend coach. I knew that mindset wise, you could help me. Even it was just reminding me, Megan, you know NLP. Why are you not using this on yourself? Why are you not using the tools you learned? Why are you not? And even that was like, okay, I called her for a reason. This is the reason I called her, was because she's going to kick my butt back into doing what I need to be doing. Right.
I even remember telling you, I'm like, I don't know NLP, but I know that you are part of a community of other qualified people, and they would be happy to NLP you for free. And I can't do that, but I love you. Go do it. I remember that.
So, I mean, like,
Oh,
there's not a coach
oh,
out there. I know mindset. I know other mindset coaches that have their own mindset coach, because we all go down those
yeah,
paths. We all go down those paths. It doesn't
right,
matter. I know I've master NLP, a master practitioner. I still need to be reminded sometimes that I know this stuff and that I need to use it on myself, because just like doctors are their own, are really bad patients, though we know mindset stuff, it doesn't mean we're always going to go. We're not always going to think. You get in this
right,
spiral, you get in a spiral of breakdown. You don't think, oh, let me stop and use my NLP on myself, or you need to reach out to other
right,
people. And that's no matter who you are. Some of the most famous
right.
people have their own coaches because they get caught in their mindset.
Well, and that's how, like, I've gotten crystal clear on who it is I want to connect with, on who it is I want to help, and that's who my client base is right now, because I do actively have clients I want to connect, and this podcast is we want to connect as a team with other moms, other women who are launching or relaunching their small businesses and are not getting the results they want, whether it's stuck in setup or stuck in wanting to grow to the next level. Because sometimes you need to outsource things. Sometimes you need to hire out. Sometimes you just need some software updates. Sometimes it is completely a mindset issue where you have this invisible ceiling where you're like, I can't make more than this amount of money. And we want to help show you, yes, you can. Watch. Because Miss Megan over here has an amazing, exciting transformation coming up with her massage business, where she is going to go from having a 2-room massage practice to day spa coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And I cannot wait to see this process as we go through it. But one thing I know for sure is that who you are right now is not who you're going to be when you open.
There's
You're
a
going to
lot
become a
that I need to
completely new person.
change. There's a whole lot that I need to change having a bigger business like that. I know this, like my hiring, the last girl I hired for this place, I hired her while I was cleaning the office. Like I literally just gave her a mop and broom and said, help me out while I talk to you. That probably is not going to go over well in the new office, like.
And might actually not be legal. Sorry.
So, I know that I'm going to have to change because I'm going to have to change. I become friends with a lot of the girls that have worked for me, the other therapists that have worked for me, or I've become friends with. And there has to be, and I know this, and I'm really good at separating. So, that whole different hats, I'm really good because like I'll talk to
Mhm.
the one girl working with me right now. I'll say, as your friend, I absolutely love this for you. I think it's great. I think it's wonderful. As your boss, get your butt back to work because because there's two parts of me. There's the part that really cares and wants you to be good in your life and wants you to have everything you want in your life. But then there's the boss part of me that's like, you were taking the last 3 weeks, at least one day every week, besides your normal days off. What's going on? And, like, go girl, but get
Right.
back to work. Figure that out on your own time.
It
Get
is
back
really
to my
difficult to
office.
be, yeah, it is almost, and I will go next step further. I will say that it's actually impossible to be a good friend and a good employer or a good boss because that's it's not your job to be a good friend, it's your job to be a good boss. That actually just came up in a recent conversation. Adam is finally recovered from surgery and back at work, and one of the things that exists in Oregon is something called FMLA, Family Medical Leave Act, and we pay into it, so it's on your pay stub. They take money out of your pay every time you get paid to pay into this thing that Oregonians can apply for and use, and that is what he used to get paid for 4 weeks while he recovered from surgery, because he had foot surgery. He couldn't be walking around on his foot and doing work. He like literally cannot be at work. But that's something that for what I know, it's not true in every state here in Oregon. But he explained that to my brother-in-law, and my brother-in-law is like, dude, as a business owner, that's terrifying. And I was like, what? And he's like, what would I do as a business owner without one of my guys for a month? It was an interesting realization for me because like, we have to accept that we actually cannot advocate for all sides at all times. We really do have to like, and I'm excited to see how this gets interpreted. I'd love people's feedback, but like we do at some point have to stay in our own lane because we needed that income. He needed that income. He needed that recovery time. Well, at the same time, my brother-in-law's business would need somebody in the place of that person if they were gone. Whereas Adam's business, he communicated about it. They knew it was coming up. His boss just chose to schedule kind of like light work, basically, for the other two guys because Adam's the senior guy for almost a month. And so having that flexibility, it's just not always possible. Adam had to really disconnect from caring about his boss and caring about his boss's business to, I need to recover. I need to have this done. And that's been a big thing that we've been dealing with in my household now for about 5 weeks, while my husband is idle, not working, while also feeling the guilt of, I'm not supporting my business, my boss's business. I'm not being an employee right now. And also for us, that FMLA took 5 weeks to arrive. And so he felt for that whole time, I'm not financially providing for my family. And so being in all of these negative feelings is something he needed support for, and went ahead and reached out and used services kind of like what we're talking about. And I almost want to say this is where we need to throw out our disclaimer. We're not medical professionals. We're not going to diagnose you with anything. We're not going to treat anything, that kind of thing. Please seek out a medical professional. You will hear Megan and I both talk about medical professionals we work with. She's already referred to her behavioral therapist she works with a couple times. I strongly believe in that. Want to make sure I'm not mudding any lines, but like, we're here and we're going to continue to be here to support our clients through anything and everything to create that success that they dream of.
Definitely. Definitely. And I will say I somewhat agree, somewhat disagree. And the reason why I think it depends the business. So like last year when Gina, my employee, when her sister died, that was 2 deaths in 2 years that she had in her family,
Yep.
her husband and her sister. Her brother came down, and when I met him, I pulled him aside. I said, you take her home to Michigan and you ground her. You let her get grounded again. 2 deaths is too much for one person in 2 years, especially 2 people she took care of. You take her home. He's like,
Right.
well, what about your business? I said, I've got my business. I will handle the outcome of this, but it's more important to me that you take care of her mental state right now and you get her back so she comes back to me 100%, not back to me at 10%. because at 10% I
Right.
can't use, at 100% I can use, but she will not get there until she goes home and gets grounded. And so therefore, like, to me, that was the boss and the friend coming together and saying, I see this, I feel this, I'll handle my business. Like, and
Right.
I don't want
Right.
to say half of a Gina, but you know what I mean? Like half of the
Yeah.
mindset that she needed.
An unhealed version of her. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like there. Yeah. If Adam had tried to go to back to work early, it would he'd be down again and would need more surgeries and be down again, and it just doesn't work. That's and not to overshare, but that's I guess that's kind of why we're here, and that's why I wanted to do this podcast. That's why I'm excited to talk about connecting back to our dreams and the resiliency it takes to connect back to our dreams. Because one of the things that Adam's bosses work experience, and they're a family run company, they have two adult children, and one of their adult children unfortunately took his life. He died by suicide right before he took this time off. And, he was married and had children. And it's one of those like when we prioritize, I want to be careful putting words to when we prioritize. Some people really prioritize faith before family, but for me, I'm a family person right away. So I even get nervous to say when we prioritize family, I think everything else falls into place. And that's what Grit and Grow is about. I'm going to continue to prioritize my family, and I'm going to continue with the belief that I'm going to run my business and I'm going to support people in creating that same thing at the same time. And I know that if I change that belief, I'm like, it's too hard. I can't do it. You're right. I can't.
No, you can't. If you say you can't, you can't. But no,
Yep.
and everyone has different things that they put number one. You and I have very similar. We're both family first. Like everything is about my daughter. Everything is about
Yep.
my husband. Even to a point where I do the same. I put myself last. Like I'm like, oh well, I need to get this done so that Joey can do this, or I can do this for Brianna. And it's like, well, what about you? I'll sleep eventually. Like whatever. And I know better, and I do try to take time out for myself, but you and I are very similar in that. But there are some people that, like, my sister-in-law and my brother never had kids. It's about them and their lives, and it's about what they want on the bigger picture, like outside of family, like what they want, their
Right.
vacations, their this and their that. And that's what's important to them. And that's not bad. That's what
Right.
they enjoy in life. And so it's never like, yeah, we tend to work a lot with moms and entrepreneurs and people like that, but that's because that's what we are. But that doesn't mean
Mm-hmm.
that we're not going to say, oh, you're an entrepreneur but you're not a mom, so we can't help you. That's
No,
not who
not at
we
all.
are.
No,
But
that's not who we are.
your priorities and your values are what we want to support in order to help you get to where you want to be. And the problem is a lot of times people's values and their priorities get mixed up because of different things. Like COVID mixed a lot of people up. And so
Yeah.
they have to realign themselves with their priorities and their values in order to move forward. But it's so mixed up because of the COVID and people working from home now versus the office and all the, like, everyone got mixed up. So it's a matter of realigning everything so that you can move forward in your life
Right.
and
And do
business.
you think there's still quite a few people who have not realigned or recentered after COVID still?
Well, if you go by what my behavioral therapist said, and he basically said they are about a 9-month waiting list at this point. My daughter's behavioral therapist, because there's many people in breakdowns right now.
Right. And that's something that like I understand. I get to a T. And that I almost want to say that makes me really excited because I feel like you and I are both qualified to serve people while also we really stand strong with that, go seek a medical health professional. But realistically, as you just said, that's 9 months out. And we have availability, next Tuesday, Wednesday, I think we have openings in our schedule. So I don't know how long we want to make each podcast last, but I do want to make sure that we've put it out there that both Megan and I are available either as a team or individually to help you work through whatever it is that has you stuck right now. Whether it is in your small business or whether it's in your personal life, whether it's with a parenting issue, whether it's with an educational issue, goodness, if it's with a housing issue, again, we're not professionals in parenting or in housing or in any field, but what we are is coaches.
And at the very least, I'm really good at researching. I can research the heck out
And
of
that is the
anything.
truth. That is the truth. You had me a septic company that was local to my area within like 2 minutes.
I
And
don't know
that is
why.
real
I
life.
just, you said that. I said on my other computer. I was like, oh, here's 5 of them. Okay.
Well, but that honestly, that is exactly what we're making available. That is the type of service that we want to provide to people is oh, I hear you're stuck. I see solutions for you. Let me show you some of the solutions that I see. Because what I've experienced when I'm in breakdown is I cannot see solutions. I
Nope.
can't see them. I can't feel them. They don't exist. I need that line. I need that connection. And oftentimes, Megan, it's been to you. Or as I was saying earlier, it was a coworker back in January. And so again, that's our business. That's what we're putting out there is that we are that line to connect from breakdown to action steps. That's the space we're
Definitely.
going to hold.
Definitely. And so this kind of was like an introduction of the two of us and how we work together, because I think we kind of showed them really well how we kind of like just even talk over each other at times, but we're on the same page.
I do not have ADD or ADHD or autism. Don't believe anything my teenagers say.
But this was more of like an introduction of both of us and how we work as a team to the listeners. And so we will be doing a podcast every week, and possibly two. We were discussing possibly using one as a like a coaching time, like to coach and to show you how we do it. So we are looking at that, and then we are going to bring in other people to interview or to coach as well if they're up for the online coaching part, like actually making it public. But definitely to interview for different aspects that we're going to be doing. So like, excuse me, I just finished the forgiveness, well, basically finished the forgiveness files, which is all about just forgiving. And it's all about, in reality, it's about building your resilience without actually using the word resilience, because I know it's overused right now. But different aspects of resilience can be broken down into how we can help you, whether it's in the business or in the personal life. There's mindset and there's different ways to help you build that without actually resilience. So forgiveness was one aspect. And I know, Sarah, you and I have discussed that a few times with things in your life. So that is one aspect. And that's what I just finished was forgiveness files. So now we're going to kind of come together and decide the next file. So we're going to do a few things, a few podcasts on that, and then have someone in that we can interview that kind of like is going through that maybe, and see what we can do to help them. That's kind of where my view of the podcast is, like sharing and then bringing someone else and maybe helping them get through something.
Absolutely.
So anyway, so that was today's Grit and Grow with Meghan and Sarah. That's the new name, Grit and Grow with Meghan and Sarah. And we are going to be putting these out every week for you guys. And we are hoping to really create a good community for you to develop, to help you move past whatever you're stuck in your life, because that's what we're here for. We're here to create a healing time for you to really understand that you're not alone, and there are people out there that can help you. Absolutely. That don't require 8 to 12 months.
No wait time. We will get you some help. And I love that you talked about resiliency, because I think about the tools that I now have within my box. I have breathing, I have meditation, I have energy work, I have EFT, I have tapping, like I have essential oils. I have so many tools now that I can use that I did not have before. We haven't even touched on my mental health diagnoses or other things that I've dealt with. I'm excited to dive into those. But when we talk about tools and resources, we want to empower you so that they're yours. You don't go to anyone else to continue to use them. You do not pay a monthly service or subscription in order to
in mind on TikTok and Instagram. And despite the storm, Sarah is on their Facebook, right? You're on all
Facebook
of them,
and Instagram.
Facebook and Instagram. So despite the storm, so we've got both of those, and we're kind of trying to work to create the whole coming together. And so we do everything together to help you guys. You reach out to one of us, reach out to both of us. I know I have a schedule on my website that they can book with if they want to. And I'm actually going to add you to it so they can book you as well for the free, like introductory call, like just to talk to you or me. Good.
Awesome.
Okay. Excellent. Well then, you guys, we will see you next week, or you will hear us next week, and we're going to possibly do another one. We're going to try to do 2 next week to really get the ball rolling. Okay, everyone have a wonderful night, day, whichever time it is there for you, and we will talk to you later.
I'm living for the day.